So I was asked recently why I'm switching back to Windows, I mean to Apple, after so many years of using a Windows computer. And I guess the short answer is that I've never truly left Apple. I grew up with Apple. The first computer I learned to use was an Apple computer. It was Apple IIs. And I've always liked the simplicity and ease of use of those computers. And although Windows have a lot of features where you can do like overclocking and get third-party stuff where you can do some interesting things. Um, when I built my Windows-based computer using the MSI Godlike motherboard, the A99X, no, the X99A chipset motherboard. It's DDR4 RAM. It had 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM and one point the i7 Intel processor. Um, I built that because I wanted to have the experience of building my own computer, and that was a joy and a blast to do. But I never fully tapped into the potential of the machine that I built. And so it basically sat there, and I used it to scroll the internet, watch videos, watch movies, and things like that. I never really truly used it at its full capacity. And, you know, when I got my office space back recently, after the kids in my care grew up and moved out, I decided to rebuild my office. And in that process, I decided to change, to get a smaller form factor computer, which was the Mac Mini. I didn't need laptops anymore, so I didn't look at the MacBook Pros. In the past, I've always used the laptops. They were at the time they were easy to I needed mobility where I would travel to and from school or from home to work, where I can do some of my homework and stuff at my job at the time. So a laptop was just easier to use than something like the MacBook Mini or a desktop. And when Apple stopped making the 17-inch laptops, that's when I really stopped bothering with Apple computers, because I always liked the 17-inch. I liked the bigger screen space for working and doing my schoolwork and things like that at the time. So when those computers died out, or stopped working or functioning like they're supposed to, um, I just never bothered buying another one. I do have a MacBook Air that one of my kids had, and I bought it off him when he upgraded to something else. Um, but I only used it once a month to pay all my monthly bills, and then it sat for the rest of the for the rest of the month. Every now, but with the pandemic, because the computer that I built, the Windows computer that I built, didn't have cameras and mic, I started using that particular laptop for Zoom calls and things of that nature. And it has always worked flawlessly. It still works. It's still there, and I will still continue using it for the purpose of Zoom calls. But again, I'm not using that machine to the fullest potential that is capable of being used, even though it's a basic machine in the lineup. Um, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to hook up a laptop to with a new 16-inch that they have, how I could hook it up to this OLED TV and close the screen down and use an external keyboard, because I was so far removed from using those laptops. I've since realized that you can do it, but again, I really didn't need that kind of machine for at this stage in my life. So I got a Mac Mini because again it was a very short learning curve, very almost flat learning curve to relearn using the Apple software and or the Mac OS because the iOS because I've never truly left it and I've always been familiar with it. And there are a few things that's different on it that I wish that it had that the Windows have, but it is what it is. Not everything's gonna be perfect. There are some things on the Windows that I wish that had on it that the Mac had. So it goes hand in hand. But I switch back more for the form factor, the ease of use, and I'm also waiting for the Mac, the iPhone 13 Pro Max to come in the mail because I've been using this 7S that I've been doing all my videos on for the past several years. And although it has served me well, and I would have preferred not to buy another phone, and we'll probably wait till the 14 come out because I hear that's going to be a whole different design. The battery is dying in this phone. It's not really lasting as it's used to. And my job has changed a little bit where I'm required to take a lot more photographs. And because I've used the Androids before and I find that I prefer Android phones more for like gaming, and I prefer using the Apple phones for business and everything else. Um, I I went with the iPhone 13 Max Pro Max over what Samsung, whatever the Samsung has, even though I did look at it. Um, and I'm sure it will also integrate a little easier with the Mac Mini with the M1 chip in it. A lot easier. Because of the way my job is, I'm required to take pictures of the kids doing different things, activities. I quickly realized that with the phone I'm using now, the 7S, um, photography is not always ideal because a lot of times the conditions are like either in the dark or in low light environments, and the kids are moving, and I have to take these pictures. So a lot of times it's like that, and I find that I can't always get good quality shots for the work I have to do with the kids. So I'm upgrading to the 13 Pro Max from the 7S. So that's a major jump. The price point is a little high, but it's for work. So I should get a decent return on my investment with the phone. It's not a toy for me. It's not something for me to have as a trend. And it's just easier for me to use, and I'm confident it will work as it should right out of the box without me having to do a whole lot of thinking and fiddling with the programming to get the work done. And that's why I pretty much switch back to the Apple. I can switch back to it without having to deal with a whole lot of fiddling, things that I wouldn't do anyway. Because I'm not a tech guy. I'm a consumer, but I'm not mindless like I used to be and just go for the latest and greatest um, laptop like I have done in the past. This time I really took my time and say, hey, this is what I need. This is what I have already. This is what I can still use. And I went with something minimalistic. Now I did have to buy some peripherals, and because I didn't go with MacBook Pro, the 16-inch computer laptop, I was able to by buying the Mac Mini, I was able to buy a couple of peripherals and buy the phone. And by being able to do that, I have the phone and a computer, and it still comes in cheaper than if I would have bought the laptop alone, about $500 or $600 cheaper. So if you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe. if this video give you something to think about that you can relate to, that's great. Um, I'm just sharing with why I switched over back to the Apple, and hopefully it'll give you all something to think about if you're looking to switch over to different things. You can look at my previous video and see the review I did on it. I will do one more update on it because I'm buying some other peripherals that I need to back up some old files and things like that. When I do that video, I will post it obviously, and you will see some of those things. But for the most part, my office is done. It is still overkill for what because I will never use a lot of the stuff I have in here to its fullest potential. You could look at my video on the home theater that's also in this room, and that little screen behind me is the big TV, the 86-inch TV. So you could look at that and see, get some inspiration, and build your own, or go a different route and post it so I could see what you all have done. So if you all have any questions, again, like, subscribe. You all have a good day.